All right, hello. Today we're going to have the lecture that deals with the population that is considered cognitively challenged or intellectually disabled. It is an older term from decades ago. They used to be called those that had mental retardation. And I'm just saying that just in case that happens to be the word that you still are familiar with. I'm going to consider this population, a lot of times I say, those that are intellectually challenged. You also can read, please read chapter 4, whether you have the white book or the blue book. Please read chapter 4. That's the population that I'm talking about. And I want to also just review last week's assignment, which was finding 4 songs. And I just need a title and a paragraph for each of those songs of why those songs reflect who you are. Why do those songs give you identity? Again, it could be that the lyrics, it could be the style, like the tempo or the instrumentation reflect who you are. It could be that it reminds you of certain friend groups that really, that's who you are, or certain memories. Some students talk about songs that their families share. So again, I just need you to write those out, hand those in to my email address, kmagen@hotmail.com. kmagen@hotmail.com. 4 songs that identify who you are. All right, going on to this population, children and adults that have cognitive challenges or intellectually disabling challenges. How do you diagnose someone? Well, there are several things to get this diagnosis. One is your IQ. This is interesting because you might want to go see what your IQ is. But for someone to be diagnosed with this challenge, they are going to have an IQ that is below 70, 75, okay? I think genius is way up in the 130, 140. So to be diagnosed, again, they're going to look at IQ, and then the next factor is functioning ability. This means how well someone can adapt to changes or things, questions, how well they adapt to daily living skills, okay? So you might know of someone that has great adaptability skills, but their IQ is very low. They might be in this population. Or you might know of someone that has a very high IQ, higher than 70 or 75, but their functioning level is jeopardized. So again, this is in general terms. This population is put into 4 classifications. 4. Test question. 4. The top classification is someone that's mildly challenged. Mildly challenged is someone that is probably functioning at around a 6th grade level, 6th grade IQ, 6th grade social skills, 6th grade functioning level. Their IQ is usually 70, 75, and lower. The next classification is someone that's moderately challenged. So it's equivalent to like a 2nd grader's IQ, social skills, emotional skills. The IQ is going down. This would be about a range of 50 and 60. All right. Then there's severely affected, and then there's profoundly affected, okay? But I'm going to put these 2, 3 and 4 together and classify severely and profoundly affected. IQ is generally less than 50. It is hard to tell you an idea of their adaptive functioning level because a lot of times someone that's severely or profoundly affected has other multiple challenges. So they may be blind, they may have autism, they may have physical challenges, spina bifida, and be cognitively challenged. So it becomes hard to test and to really assess. So again, I just want you to know there's many different causes. Chromosomal disorders, Anytime any of us are still susceptible to this disorder, anytime there's a lack of oxygen to the brain, someone could be then challenged this way. But once you get this diagnosis, it's something that you have for the rest of your life. There's no cure for this, but there are ways to manage and to help someone with this. Again, it doesn't mean their IQ is going to keep getting better and better, but they still will working on goals. And I'm missing a page. The greatest example of understanding this is page 92. It's in your, I think it's 92 in the white book, and it talks about a girl is going for a walk. She's on this walk and she's a man, so that's the stimulus, and her receptive brain is saying, oh, there's a man. Now, whatever this girl chooses to do, like she could choose to go up and hug that person, or maybe she is choosing to stranger danger and walk away from that person. That's called central processing of your brain, where your brain goes, what do I know? What have I been told about approaching a man out on the road? Maybe your parents have said stranger danger. But if you're cognitively challenged, that part of the brain is going to be affected. So it could also affect the receptive skill, as in maybe they can't even identify that that is a man. But let's say they have the receptive skills to say, there's a man. The central processing, because of this diagnosis, they may not be able to find where people have warned them about stranger danger, and instead their brain processes, hey, my dad is a man, I love that man, and they might walk up to a stranger and give them a great old big old hug. Whatever they choose to do is a form of their expressive skills. So someone that's cognitively challenged may show different receptive skills, different central processing skills, and they'll definitely have different expressive skills. If you've ever worked with this population, you might be familiar with the idea like they might approach total strangers, they might get into someone's personal space, I'm just overgeneralizing just to give you some examples. This person will always need cueing, because again, if you can't find in your brain central processing the cues to tell yourself what to do, you're going to need outside sources to help with that cueing. So if you work with this population, it just means you give a lot of cueing. If you had a blind friend, you can assume you're going to have to give them a lot of cueing, right? For the rest of your time with them. I wish people could understand that even someone that's cognitively challenged will always need that same cueing. You can't think, well, I told them that 8 times yesterday. That's not understanding this population. They will always need that cueing. So again, make sure you're aware of the different 4 classifications. If you're working with this client in music therapy, you're actually going to work on all the goals. Communication, again, I mentioned receptive skills, academic. The academics are probably not going to be better math skills, but better daily living skills. All right, understanding street signs, understanding getting correct change at a grocery store. Motor skills is the population generally doesn't get invited out to the neighborhood game of tag. So in music therapy, we give them opportunity to do a lot of motor exercise. This population generally doesn't have any issues with dancing and getting up and moving. And emotional skills, we'll work on that, leisure skills, and social skills. So we work with all the goal areas for this population.